Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9 p.m. English News Edition brought to you live from RTD channel. The top series of tonight are Arab Islamic Summit closes with the strong resolutions condemning Israel. President Gile leaves Qatar for the United Nations General Assembly in New York. And on the international scene, Spain cancels 700 million euros arms contract with the state of Israel. Welcome back in our newsroom. President Ismail Omar Guelleh attends emergency Arab Islamic Summit in Doha. Yesterday morning, President Ismail Omar Guelleh took part in the joint emergency summit between the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation held in Doha. The summit was convened in response to recent Israeli airstrikes targeting senior leaders of Hamas, which resulted in the death of 5 individuals. More than 70 Arab and Islamic nations responded to the invitation from the state of Qatar, including the Republic of Djibouti, represented by President Ismail Omar Guelleh at the head of a large delegation. And on the sidelines of the summit, President Ismail Omar Guelleh expressed profound sorrow and reaffirmed his country's moral stance in response to what he described as a grave injustice. Let's listen to the president.
With hearts burdened by pain and conscience that refuse silence in the face of injustice, we stand here today not merely to record a diplomatic presence, but to speak a word of undeniable truth. The treacherous Israeli aggression that targeted Doha, this blessed land, is not only an attack on a city, but an assault against every Arab and every Muslim, and a blatant challenge to international law and to our shared humanity. The bombing of Doha, long a beacon of peace, a refuge for the oppressed, and an unwavering voice of truth, is not a passing incident. It is a resounding slap against international silence, exposing the odious nature of the Israeli occupation project, which recognizes no sovereignty and submits to no law. Leaders, we proclaim it clearly today from the hearts of Doha. Whoever bombs a secure Arab capital defies the entire nation, and whoever remains silent paves the way for the next aggression. In light of this grave event, the Republic of Djibouti declares the following. It condemns in the strongest terms this criminal aggression and consider a crime. It demands an immediate international investigation to uncover the truth, document the crime, and hold the Israeli occupation fully accountable. It calls for immediate Arab and Islamic action to go beyond mere condemnation by adopting deterrent measures and effective decisions. The time has come for this nation to act as one body. Our dignity is indivisible, and our sovereignty is neither a matter of debate nor of negotiation. We must turn our solidarity into concrete action to protect our countries, preserve our sovereignty, and send a clear message. Our capitals are not open grounds for violations and aggressions. Dear brothers, we extend our hand for a just peace, but we will not accept that this civilized approach be mistaken for weakness, nor that our patience interpreted as surrender. If it has been misunderstood, let this summit mark a turning point, restoring the balance of dignity and sovereignty. In conclusion, from this very platform, we reaffirm the full support of the Republic of Djibouti, its leadership, its people, to the brotherly state of Qatar. We hope that from this deep wound will rise a new Arab and Islamic awakening, one without hesitation or neglect, and one that will not remain silent in the face of violations of sovereignty. O Allah, protect Qatar, protect our nations, and support the truth and those who defend it.
Alongside the Arab Islamic Emergency Summit in Doha, President Ismail Omar Guelleh held talks with the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. During the meeting, President Gil expressed the solidarity of the government and the people of Djibouti with the state of and people of Qatar following the recent attack by Israel on Qatari territory. In response, the Emir of Qatar did not fail to thank President Gil and the Djiboutian people for their support and solidarity in the face of what he described as a violation of Qatar's sovereignty by Israel. The discussion focused as well on how Arab countries can ensure stronger security guarantees to prevent similar attacks in the future. And both leaders agreed on the urgent need for the Arab world to put in place a collective deterrent. Let's bear in mind that Djibouti and Qatar are both known globally for promoting peace and dialogue. Doha summit ends with a strong Arab Islamic rejection of Israeli attack on Qatar. The extraordinary Arab Islamic summit concluded Monday this morning in Doha with the participating heads of states and government expressing full solidarity with Qatar and strongly condemning what they describe as the blatant and treacherous Israeli aggression against its sovereignty. The summit concluded with the adoption of a joint final statement. Discussion at the summit focused on the Israeli airstrike that occurred last Tuesday, which, according to Qatari authorities, targeted a senior Hamas leader during a meeting convened to discuss a U.S. proposal related to the ongoing war in Gaza City. In its final statement, the summit strongly condemned Israel's brutal attack on Qatar, calling it a major obstacle to any prospect for peace in the region. It denounced the unlawful and cowardly nature of the strike and expressed unwavering support for Qatar, backing any measures it may take in response. The statement emphasized that targeting neutral mediator undermines international peace efforts while also praising Qatar's major and responsible response to the attack. Leaders at the summit did not fail to welcome a shared vision for regional stability and security cooperation. They stressed the need for collective security and end to the Israeli occupation and the creation of a Palestinian state based on the 1964 borders. The statement also called for a nuclear-free Middle East and the elimination of all weapons of mass destruction in the region. Leaders urged the international community to act quickly to stop Israel's repeated attacks on countries in the region. They warn of serious consequences if the attacks on Qatar, Gaza, the West Bank, Syria, Lebanon, and Iran continue. The statement also expressed full support for Qatar and backed any steps it may take in response to what was called a clear act of Israeli aggression. It also warned that continued violation and Israeli attacks could block peace efforts and damage both current and future normalization deals. And finally, the summit called for the International Criminal Court to enforce its decisions and carry out arrest warrants against those responsible for crimes in the occupied Palestinian territories. Thereafter, President Ismail Omar Guelleh departs Qatar for New York to attend UN General Assembly. The President of the Republic departed Qatar on Tuesday morning following his participation in the Joint Emergency Summit of the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation held in Doha. The summit convened in response to the Israeli aggression on Qatari territory resulted in a number of key resolutions, most notably a strong condemnation of what was described as a treacherous and unlawful attack targeted facilities designated by Qatar to host mediation delegations. The President of the Republic is now en route to New York, where he will take part in the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, continuing Djibouti's diplomatic engagement on key regional and international issues as well. Back to the capital, where the Prime Minister received the new Saudi Arabia ambassador to Djibouti. Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed received today the newly appointed ambassador of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the Republic of Djibouti, Mutrik Abdullah Al Duzairi, during a courtesy visit. The meeting reflected the depth of the historical ties between the two brotherly and friendly nations and laid the groundwork for expanding bilateral cooperations. Both officials expressed their shared desire to transform mutual solidarity into concrete actions. And still with the national news, National Youth Forum on climate change and health kicks off in Djibouti. The National Youth Forum on the impact of climate change on youth health officially opened this morning at the Sheraton Hotel in Djibouti. Held under the theme Environmental Impact, Vital Future, Youth Health and Climate Challenges, the forum was organized by the United and Indivisible Youth Association of Djibouti in a partnership with the Ministries of Health and Environment and the World Health Organization. The event brings together more than 200 young participants alongside key stakeholders, including the Secretary General of the Ministry of Environment, the Acting Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, a representative from the WHO, the UNDP program representative, the International Organization for Migration, as well as climate expert and representative from the Oboh region. And during her remarks at the forum, the representative of the International Organization for Migration did not fail to express her pleasure at participating in the event. She said it was an honor for the IOM to be present and to support the Djibouti Youth Health Forum in addressing the challenges posed by climate change. She noted that climate change was having increasingly severe effect in the Republic of Djibouti and across the Horn of Africa. This includes rising temperatures, more frequent flooding, and ongoing drought that had lasted for several years. The IOM representative emphasized that these environmental challenges were not only impacting Djibouti's residents but also mobile populations. For his part, the representative of the UNDP pointed out that climate change in Djibouti is no longer a theory. Its effects are real and clearly visible. He added that climate change represented a global threat and highlighted the need to also consider mental and psychological health when discussing the broader impact on youth well-being. For her part, Dr. Rina, the representative of the WHO, praised the initiative, describing it as an important step towards building a healthier and more sustainable future. She stated that climate change consistently impacts human beings, primarily through its effect on nutrition, health, and safety in the face of escalating climate-related crises. According to Dr. Rina, climate change now represents the greatest threat to health in the 21st century. She explained that significant progress had been made in recent decades in improving public health, reducing disease transmission, and even eradicating certain illness. However, she noted that a concerning rise in non-communicable disease when she attributed in part to climate change and increasing urbanization. Dr. Rina also pointed out the growing threats to human safety, highlighting the impact of health, emergencies, injuries, disabilities, and climate-related fatalities. While speaking, the Acting Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Ali Ahmed Musa, explained the necessity of discussing the tangible threats to physical health. He emphasized that the forum theme highlights the environmental impact on youth and the challenges facing the ministry. He raised a fundamental question regarding what kind of world, environment, and health could be left for future generations. He pointed out that in Djibouti, where the effect of climate change, such as drought, extreme heat, and water scarcity, are part of daily life, this question is not a theory but very important He stated that during the forum, participants will deeply engage with the critical issues including physical health threats, heat-related disease, food security, and water quality. He also mentioned that the forum will address an often overlooked but equally significant issue, environmental anxiety and its effect on the mental health of young people. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, Dini Abdel Omar, delivered a speech in which he underscored the importance of the forum. He stated that the two-day event held at Sheraton Hotel under the inspiring theme Environmental Impact of Vital Future, Youth Health at Stake brings people together to address a pressing and vital issue protecting the health and future of youth amid increasing climate change challenges. He emphasized that in Djibouti, the effects of climate change are not theory threats but tangible realities. This includes extreme heat waves, prolonged droughts, sudden floods, and rising sea levels, all of which weaken environmental systems and communities. Mr. Dini noted that since over 70% of the population is young, these environmental impacts have a direct effect on the health and well-being of the emerging generations. Turning now to the next story, the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, in collaboration with the PERSGA, launched this morning a national consultation workshop to update the Polmar Plan, the National Emergency Plan for Responding to Accidental Marine Pollution. This initiative is part of a proactive approach aimed at strengthening the country's capacity to prevent and respond to marine pollution risk. This is a critical issue for Djibouti, whose waters host over 25,000 vessels annually due to its strategic location at the crossroads of major global maritime routes. Given this intense maritime activity, enhancing the Polmar Plan is very important to ensure the environmental security of Djibouti's coastline, preserve marine ecosystems, and protect coastal communities. The consultations involve national experts, representatives from port authorities, NGOs, and technical partners. Let's recall that this workshop represents a significant milestone in updating coordination, communication, and rapid response mechanism to address incidents that could have severe consequences for the marine environment. In his address, the representative of the PERSGA program stated in his speech that the consultations essentially focus on updating the Polmar Plan. He explained that as is well known, the Polmar Emergency Response Plan is a vital tool for preventing and combating marine pollutions caused by the discharge of carbon dioxide and other potentially harmful substances into the sea. He then described PERSGA, the regional organization he represents, as an intergovernmental body dedicated to preserving the marine environment of the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. He noted that PERSGA brings together 7 coastal countries in the region, including Djibouti. The representative highlighted also that Djibouti's strategic location at the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, an important maritime crossroads. In this context, maritime transport, which is the economic lifeline of the country, is not only a strategic matter but also poses a significant pollution risk.
Important pour le transport maritime.
In his speech, Mr. Dini Abdel Omar, Secretary General of the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, highlighted for his part the severe negative impact that marine disaster caused by oil spills and potentially harmful substances have on the marine environment and the national economy. He pointed out that due to Djibouti's exceptional strategic geographic location at the crossroad of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden, the country is one of the busiest maritime corridors in the world, with over 25,000 vessels passing through its waters annually. Mr. Dini emphasized that while this key role in transportation and logistics for international trade and the national economy presents great opportunities, it also exposes Djibouti's marine and coastal environment to increasing risk to accidental pollutions. To address this threat of potential marine pollution, he noted that Djibouti had established a pollution plan which was updated in 2010 and amended in 2012. He added that since 2009, the Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with the Ministry of Balance and Infrastructure and with the technical support from regional organizations for the conservation of the environment and marine environment of the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, known as PERSGA, has been working on implementing this formal plan. Shifting focus now to the regional and international scene. In Kampala, the Ugandan government officially launched the second phase of the Entebbe International Airport expansion project with an investment estimated at $125 million. This strategic project aims to increase the airport's annual passengers capacity from the current 2 million to 3.5 million, targeting 5 million passengers by 2029. The expansion works include extending runways and aircraft parking areas, upgrading a passenger terminal, and improving services to meet international standards of comfort and safety. According to officials, this expansion will support growth in the tourism sector and strengthen Uganda's air connectivity with regional and international markets. Finally, the project also holds special significance with the upcoming 2027 Africa Cup of Nations, part of which Uganda will host. Spain has cancelled a 700 million euros contract for Israeli-made rocket launchers following the government's new official ban on arms sales to Israel in response to the ongoing conflict in Gaza, reports.
The British government has cancelled a contract worth nearly 700 million euros for the acquisition of rocket launchers designed in Israel. This decision comes a week after Madrid confirmed a ban on signing any arms deals with the Israeli state as part of a series of measures aimed at increasing pressure on Israel over its war in the Gaza Strip. According to agence France Presse, the cancelled deal had been awarded to a consortium of Spanish companies for the purchase of 12 high-mobility artillery rocket systems developed by the Pulse system created by the Israeli group Elbit Systems. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez had earlier announced new steps to end the genocide in Gaza, including a legal reinforcement of the ban on arms contracts with Israel, a ban that had previously been enforced de facto. Pedro Sanchez is seen as one of Europe's most outspoken critics of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and of Israel's military offensive in Gaza. Relations between Madrid and Tel Aviv have become particularly strained in recent months. There has been no Israeli ambassador in Spain since the Sanchez government recognized the state of Palestine in 2024. Last week, Madrid recalled its ambassador from Israel after a new round of harsh exchanges between the two countries, triggered by Spain's last measures.
Israeli forces increased their air and ground attacks on Gaza City earlier this morning, hitting residential buildings in the north and telling people in the port and Rima areas to leave. Tariq Adnan has more.
The Israeli army intensified its aerial ground bombardment of Gaza City at dawn on Tuesday, destroying residential buildings in the northern part of the city. At the same time, it issued a warning to all residents of the Gaza port area in the Raimel neighborhood. Since dawn on Monday, 60 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrike across the Gaza Strip. Mahmoud Bassal, spokesperson for Gaza Civil Defense, stated that the city is under intense bombardment and the number of martyrs and wounded continues to rise. The newspaper Israel Hayom reported that the sound of massive explosion in Gaza was heard as far as Tel Aviv. According to the Daily Haaretz, the Israeli army is preparing to launch a ground operation in Gaza City. Meanwhile, Israeli Channel 12 reported that Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir held a final meeting on Monday ahead of the operation. For its part, the news site Walla reported citing a source in the IDF's Operation Division that the army had already launched an intensive operation in Gaza involving various types of bombardment. Palestinian sources also reported that the occupation forces are using
Mohamed Salah moved up to fourth place on the Premier League. The top scorer leads after scoring a penalty for Liverpool against Burnley on Sunday. He now has 188 goals or more in this report.
Salah has climbed to fourth place on the list of the Premier League's all-time top scorers. A penalty converted by the Liverpool forward against Burnley on Sunday brought his tally to 888 goals in the competition. The Egyptian has now overtaken Andrew Cole, who drops to fifth place. Salah now has his sights set on third place, currently held by Harry Kane with 213 goals, though Kane has moved to Bayern Munich in Germany. At 32 years old, Mohamed Salah continues to cement his legacy in English football history as he begins his 9th season with Liverpool.
So that's it for tonight's news. Thanks for being with us and have a good night.